Hi everyone, my name is Harry Cosrianto, the president and co-founder of Interfaith Study and Community Development Association in conjunction with Philadelphia Roundtable. In this very minute, we're going to talk about the subject and the issue of race and color. So this will be part 2. I encourage you to see part 1. So joining with me is Brother Amir Michael. He is the president of National Record Incorporated. He's a radio host, and he's running the Philadelphia chapter for the Missing Page History non-profit organization down at the Virginia. Now, as like I said, we're going to talk about the issue and the subject of race. Brother Michael, last time when we discussed this subject, you've been tackle some of the looking at the the historical background and how the race gets studied and try to relate it with the current situation. Now the question will be, in our society, people still get stumbled, get cut off with the notion of race and color. So the media constantly try to portray as if we are in the ideological warfare. The ideological warfare that we face is the white versus black, white supremacy versus black. Now, with that case, so we have in our society a group of people who indulging in the black nationalism, or we might say black theology. The real authentic Islamic teaching, doesn't have any boundary by a certain race and color, and ethnicity. So those people are, like I said, they are promoting certain race, like Black Hebrew, Israelite, Black Panther, and the group of Farrakhanism. So they are indulging in black theology. So my question will be, so don't you think by indulging in certain race, promoting certain race, that in itself will be, those people are participating the notion of racism?
Well, first of all, let's begin with the Panther Party. The new Black Panther Party, which is it's quite different in certain ways from the old or the original Black Panthers. The Nation of Islam, I would never use the phrase Farrakhanism because he was not the founder of the Nation of Islam. You have to check the history of these organizations to understand what they stand for and how they develop. Even with the Hebrew Israelites, they are a group of other Israelites who have done certain research and have come to certain conclusions. What we've had in this country, and maybe you're not fully aware of it, is more than 300, it has been at least 375 years of slavery, followed by segregation. And during that entire period, the European American was the enemy of the African American. You were brought here for the most part in chains, subjected to generational slavery, rape, abuse, and perhaps even worse than that was a brainwashing that taught Black Americans to be subservient, or try to keep them subservient to the European Americans. So that's the background of the peoples that you're discussing. It's a response to a very unfair situation, as if you were beaten every day and then asked to love the person that beat you. Now in Islam, race is not the factor of deciding that Creator decides of who's the best. It decides by the character of the person. But that hadn't been allowed to occur in the United States and is just beginning to open up at this point. So when you look at these groups, first of all, you have to understand that they're responding to a very unfair situation, and also responding to a great deception, if not the great deception, that was perpetrated by the people who ran the country and oppressed the peoples that we're discussing, the African American, or the so-called African American. In Islam, oppression is worse than death. So when you speak of these groups, you need to really understand how these groups came to be, exactly what they're talking about, and then begin to look at the arguments that they're presenting and go step by step to understand, or if you wish, or if you can, defeat each particular principle or argument that's being brought forth. This is a response, and part of what you're hearing is a response to oppression.
I guess in other words, are you saying that those group of people who indulging in the black nationalism, are they kind of being driven by the emotional feeling and psychological nature that they try to confront the injustices by confronting the white supremacy? So this will be like challenging the white supremacy. So by afflicting the certain race, the black people, white supremacy, it's a kind of
Yes, that's a very good way of describing it. What you see, and a lot of the problems you see in the African American, so-called African American community, is the result of that long period of generational slavery, where you were not allowed to read. The religion that you had was taken from you, because many of the so-called African Americans were Islamic peoples before they were brought to this country. Many were Christian peoples before they were brought to this country. And what the European had done was create a myth that these people were all from deep inside some forest, that they were cannibals, they had no education, that they were less than a human being. We see a court case in the late 1800s, I believe about 1845, called the Dred Scott case, in which an African American sought to confront the Supreme Court, the highest court of this country, concerning his right to be a free man. And the conclusion of that court case is that this is a paraphrase, that the white man had no rights, the black man had no rights that a white man was bound to respect. So this is of the worst kinds of oppression. Your Islam was taken from you, your name was taken from you, your dignity was taken from you, your children were taken from you. And this repeated for almost 400 years. If we take that date, 1619, when the first West African slaves were brought here, will be 400 years in another couple years that we've been in this particular situation. And it's only in the last, since my lifetime, that a lot of this oppression has eased. Essentially, whites had been taught to hate and to disrespect the African American. The African American in the 60s was not allowed to go into certain places. They could not marry who they wanted to. They could not go to the same schools or even have the same access to good food, credit, or any of the things that made America so great. So the response had to be something very strong. A great part of what was being done at the time was to keep the African American subservient and frightened. So when you see these groups that came up in, whether it was the Nation of Islam in 1930, it was response and something very needed at the time, until equality comes. What people fail to understand with looking at these groups is that they take a very shallow look, they hear a few words, and misunderstand what's being truly said. Each of these organizations have their own way of speaking about things. So once you get the high definition of the terms that they're using, you'll find that they're not really saying anything too different. The Hebrew Israelites are responding to the myth that there's no place for the black man in the Bible, that he didn't truly exist there. There were myths made by the Ashkenazi Jews, the European Jews, who said that the black man was a result or the child of Ham, and that he was a cursed man, cursed by God to eternity. That's why he has the appearance he has. They said that he would be black-skinned because he was evil, that his facial features would be distorted, that he would be a very low person. And this is the myth they created, and the myth was spread across the planet. So that if you go many places in the world before 1980, many people have only one impression of what an African or an African American is capable of. So that's what we're dealing with. They found by genetic analysis, the DNA, that a people in South Africa, black people, called the Lemba, have the same DNA that are part of the Levitical priesthood. And this particular DNA is found in anyone who is a descendant of the Levite of the tribe of Israel, the nation of Israel. We find that in the Bible it says that Israel will be dispersed and become a part of all ethnos, and that's the Greek word for ethnic, so that this group of people would be mixed into all peoples across the world. So it would not ever be exclusively after the nation of Israel was dispersed from the Middle East, that it would never be just one group of people that would exist as the Jewish people. Let's take the term Jewish. There was a tribe called Judah, and that was the southern kingdom in Israel. And they kept the law, and that's where the temple was built, Solomon's temple, and it was rebuilt later on. However, with the dispersion of these peoples into the north and into Italy and into the Roman Empire after the destruction of the temple, they became known by a slang term. So instead of Judah or Judahite, and as we would say in English, it became Jewish. Like if you had a drink of tea and it was sweet-ish. It's not really sweet, but it has something of the sweetness remaining. And that ish, which if you look at the Arabic, you find a surprising meaning to that. It's not the real thing, it's a mixture. We also find that throughout history that as the Roman Empire spread throughout Europe, a lot of the participants in the army and leadership were also people of color. And it's not like the old movies where everybody looks like a modern day Italian. A lot of different ethnic groups were part of that, just as the United States military is a multi-ethnic group. So the problem had been is that as you learn history in this country and in most of the European countries, the Africans' history has been covered up and hidden and disposed of.
All right. Well, it seems to be a very hot topic that we discussed right now. So again, everyone, if you are interested with what we just discussed here, if you are listening to our discussion either from Blog Talk Radio or if you're tuning to our video YouTube channel, if you have any question, if you have anything want to share, if you have anything, or if you have any comment, anything that you want to share with us, you can call us at the number 267 770-6360, and you can call Brother Amir, as he will mention his number in a while. So, Brother Amir, can you mention your number, how people can contact you?
Okay, we're www.philaroundtable.webs.com. That's PHILAROUNDTABLE .webs.com. You can also call us at 267-687-8488, and we'd be glad to hear from you. We'd like to have others participate. I'd like to shout out the Israelite Brotherhood to participate in these discussions, to bring some of those facts, some of those studies that you've done into the Bible or the Torah. I'd like to talk to the brothers who are part of the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple, and any other group who wants the uplift of all humanity. And if we start with the African American community, that's fine. Let's get those viewpoints known so that we don't have to depend on the mainstream media to define these movements and their doctrines. We'd rather hear it directly from you.
Alright, everyone, as Brother Michael mentioned, so if you're interested, if you like to get info in our discussion, just pick up the phone and call that number. So in the meantime, Brother Michael, the next question I guess will be, and as the elder, you've been studying, you've been doing some research, and in your point of view, in your thought, and after you've done some research and study, and you mentioned that the evidence that you saw, the evidence suggested that the human race, the beginning of human race start with the black color. So those are the the beginning of human race. And then those, as the time goes by, the race get developed over time. So you are suggesting, or the evidence suggesting that the first human race was black color, and then those color get evolved, develop over time, and then the color get changed and split up, as we see today. So can you elaborate on that?
Okay, what they've taught in the Western schools of science is that the human race began in East Africa, and these are the oldest bones and fossils found. And if you look at the Quran and the Bible, it speaks of two people being the originators of the entire humanity. So if we look at some of the fossil records, we see that people traveled throughout the planet, whether they walked over land or from island to island, or whether they built boats, but they've traveled all over. And as people resided in different climates and under different circumstances, the survivors best suited to that environment are what we see today. Now, there are controversies concerning this. I think it's a good area of investigation and research, and there are certain questions that I have as to how this actually occurred. But perhaps together we can do more research and get some better answers.
Okay. So, again, the next question will be something that's still triggered me, in my mind for a long time. As I've been studying and done my research, I also have something, that's troubled me, the term Jewish. So when I heard the term Jewish, I kind of confused. So is this name Jewish? It is the name of the race? Is it ethnicity? Is it a group of, a tribe? Or is it some kind of, a bloodline which has some DNA that can be traced back to history? Or is it some kind of affiliation or associated with genealogy? So the reason I'm asking this question, because we heard in our society a group of people, of black people, claim to be the real Jewish, and they say that the real white Jewish who settle in Jerusalem are not the real Jewish. So, and then we have back in our country, in Indonesia, people like me, they were born and grew up right there in Asia, but they claim to be a Jewish people, or have some type of Jewish descendant. So this is something that surprised me. So at this point, I'm confused. So what is Jewish? Is this a race? Is it ethnicity? Is this a group or type of genealogy? So can you elaborate on that?
Okay, to the best of my knowledge, I think where we talked about high definition, that's important at this point, because the word Jewish, and we had touched on that a little earlier, is really more of a slang, saying that it's referring to the tribe of Judah. And as that tribe was dispersed after the destruction of the temple, they went into many places and became mixed with many different groups. You look at the Bible says this group of people, the tribe of Judah, would be dispersed into all ethnic groups, or all ethnos, which is the Greek translation. So if you have an ethnic group that we call Italian, if you have an ethnic group that's called Asian, if we have an ethnic group that's called African American or African, that they would be a part, mixed into all these different peoples. And what they're talking about is the genealogy or bloodlines. For those who read the Bible, there are sections in there where a lot of detail is made as to who is who in the Bible. You have the groups, whose father is who. This is even in Islam. It's very important to know who the father of a person is, and people trace their genealogies back as much as they can, especially in the Middle East. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, was of the tribe of Quraysh, and they descended from the tribe of Kedar. And we can look into that, and Kedar is also mentioned in the Bible. The tribe of Judah and the northern kingdom are family, and all their works and so forth were defined by their blood relations. The tribe of the Levite Levitical priesthood was a priesthood by birth. So they're all working from bloodlines. Now, as we go into the modern era, you have people who can claim they are Jewish, and whether they have the actual descendancy, that would be the question. Are they actually descended from the tribe of Judah or any of the other tribes from the northern kingdom? Some call themselves Ashkenazi, and the Bible details who their fathers are. According to the Bible, they're not from the tribe of Israel, neither are they from Shem, but from another lineage. And there are portions of the Bible which speak also of them coming back to Israel and assisting the true Israelites or the genetic Israelites upon their return. As to the folks that you're just referring to in Indonesia and throughout many places in the planet, it's quite possible that they are descendants from the original Israelites, because what happens when there is war and destruction, people leave. They head in whatever direction they can to try to find safety for their homes and for their friends and family. So if people travel into Asia, that should not be surprising. If they travel towards southern Africa, that shouldn't be surprising. If they travel into West Africa, that should not be surprising, because people do what they have to do to survive. They want their children to grow up. They want peace and security.
Oh, all right. So I guess, God, you put so much stuff right there. So again, everyone, if you think this topic is hot topic, yes, you can get involved, you can participate, you can put your comment or feedback. So pick up that number that we just mentioned. So you can also visit our website at www.villaroundtable.webs.com, or you can visit my website at www.ifs-cda.webs.com. So again, thank you for watching, for tuning in. But I guess lastly, before we close our program, Brother Michael, so if you can summarize, if you can put our discussion in one sentence, what will be your final thought? What will be, and what would be the message, the moral lesson that we try to reach out there? What will be your final thought?
Well, there's a saying that the truth will set you free, although it's actually the truth will make you free. So as we begin to do our research and double check our sources and get a true idea of who these people are, what are they truly talking about, and the backgrounds that are associated with each of these groups or these doctrines or these peoples, we'll have a better understanding of each other. Ultimately, we're all human beings, and we all deserve the best that we can have on this planet Earth, and peace and security.
All right, everyone. So this will be the final conclusion in our program. So like I said, it is a hard topic. I know some of you might have something in your mind, something that trigger in your mind the discussion about the race and the color. So again, if you're interested, get involved, participate, and keep in touch. So again, thank you for watching this channel. Thank you for tuning into our video YouTube channel. So again, this discussion, the Philadelphia Roundtable, will be ongoing program. So we have different topic, different subject, in every program. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. So again, peace.
All right, peace.